Hi, Don Cavellis here from Four Dog Stove Company here on the back 40, and today I'm going to go over the Tentipi from Sweden. It's a semicircular design. They've been manufacturing these here tents since, I know for sure, since the 80s. What we're going to go over, semicircular design based on the old Laplander Lavu. And we'll be going on how to set it up, and then also how to utilize the Four Dog titanium stoves, Ultralight 1 and Ultralight 2, and also how to use my steel stoves. We have kind of a unique setup with these tents because the stove is actually right in the center of the tent and the pipe goes right up the middle. And what sort of advantages does that give us? Well, it gives us that we're getting all that heat off of that stovepipe before that smoke goes out the pipe. It also makes it centered, so now the heat rises, descends by the wall, so you have a nice uniform warmth. Now the nice thing about the Tentipi, they make these in multiple models. You can almost say they've got a good, better, best. What I prefer on them, they do make them in a synthetic, but I prefer the poly cotton they have, which is really high quality. It's about 7 ounces per square yard. You're going to look at a tent this size with everything, you're looking at about a little over around 30-35 pounds. That's with your center pole and everything, and your stakes. The one thing that's nice about these tents is you'll see as we're setting it up, and once it's set up, it's extremely simple to set up and goes very rapidly. Realistically, a person could have it up within 5 to 10 minutes. The unique idea of it is that because of the 8 sides, you sit there and you place 8 stakes in, you spread your tent out, then you set up the center pole, tighten it up, and you're good to go. The nice thing about this, you only have the one center pole. You have a very good profile in the wind. So even in an open field like this, if you had 20-30 mile per hour wind or even more, you would be able to set it up. The other thing that makes that nice, because you have no flat quote-unquote surfaces, that is constantly breaking the forces of the wind. So it makes it extremely stable, which is very important in the winter, and it also makes it so you don't get that flapping effect like you do on a wall type tent. You don't have an interior pole system. One thing that's nice with just having one center pole is that if it's necessary, you can cut a pole on site from material available in the brush, so you're not dependent that if one thing fails, now you're SOL. So at that, I guess we'll get started on showing you how to set it up. See here, this has a really interesting storage sack that comes with it. It has 3 straps that tighten your bag. So the advantage of that is you don't have to worry about folding the tent so tight to get it in your bag. So your bag is oversized. The wonderful thing with it, everything is extremely high quality. Everything's thought out excellent. So you have a small bag with your stakes. Now, as we go through this, you'll see there's specific ways you have to do this to get the most efficiency and to take advantage of the features of this tent. Move the tent over. Now here we have the stakes. Now one thing they include with this, and this is critical for your setup, is they've got this small line and this small piece of canvas. Now what these items are for is that this is your guide on where to set your first 8 stakes. Okay? It's quite simple. Once you do it once, twice, it'll become counterintuitive. What this does with this pattern, as you see on here with the lines on here, this is the alignment that you need to space your stakes to correspond with the tent once you get it laid out. So I'll show you how you do that. Now I'll look at this as being my point. This is where I want my door. So I'll set this down, and this will go to the center of where you want your tent. And what we're setting up today is a number 7. On the number 7, it's approximately 17.5 foot in diameter and approximately 10 foot tall. We'll make sure we've laid out our spot fairly flat. We know we've got what I always like to do. If it's 17 foot, you can figure each paw is approximately 3 foot. So you divide 17 in half, you come approximately with 8.5. So if I go 1, 2, 3, I know this is about how far out I'm going to have to go. And the same thing in the opposite direction. Okay? We take our cord, and if you look here, the cord has a loop in one end. Then you also have it marked on here, numbers, as you go out. This is a number 5 that's stitched into it, number 7, number 9, and a number 15. Now the reason for that is that that's telling you how far out you want to put your stake for the model tent. So we'll be using a model number 9, so we'll be using the number 9. Now I tend to, when I first put my stakes in, I don't set them all the way in. I'll probably put them 2/3 of the way. That way there, if I do have to reposition that stake afterwards, I'm not going to have to pull it out all the way, just part of the way. I come out here to the number 9, I pull that tight, and I'll take my stake, putting it at about a 30-degree angle. Now if you have to, you can use a hammer, or you can use a rock to help drive it into the ground. The ground here is fairly soft, it's been raining a great deal. So now I'll come over to this point, I'm lining up with the lines, I'll place another stake. I'll come over to here, I guess my tent just a little bit in the way. I'll place it over. Again, lining up, just like going on a, almost like a sundial in a sense. One thing I like to do now when I get parallel to my other stakes, I'll kind of line that up that way. The nice thing with the Muscatan, you get a Muscatan tent, and they pretty much give you everything you need to get started. You got your stakes, you got your center pole. The only thing is they do have it compartmentalized to the point to whereas you have the option of some different floor options. You have some options for if you want to use a liner or not. You can also take and use your own liner, your own floor, by using like what we will have here today, a simple, inexpensive woven poly, until you decide which one you would rather have. Okay, that's done. I find the way I like to coil this up, I'll take it in my hand like this, doing a figure 8 between my thumb and my forefinger, my little finger, and then it won't be tangled up. It'll be ready to go the next time I need it. Now what I like to do, being at my door, when I folded it up, I positioned it so my door would be right about in this position here. So I'll take it and I'll unfold it. We'll go over when we get done here how the best way to fold it up is. As you can see here, here's our center pole. We use that to help us roll up the tent. Helps keep the main body and protects the center pole. Now I'll unfold the tent. Right here is your door. I was a little bit off on that. I'll shift this over. As you can see here, these are our straps. And what we do, we kind of loosen these up quite a bit. And we just hook that over this stake, okay? We go to the next unit, the next panel. There again, I'll release the buckle. I'll place that. I'll go to the next panel. As you can see, it's much easier than a person would think. You're not having any frame to put together. Because the tent's laying flat, you can be in extreme wind and your tent's not flying away. This tent has been used extensively north of the Arctic Circle and on the tundra. Okay. Now we'll zip it open. You don't even actually have to do that, but I find it be a little easier when I do. So now I can put together my center pole. Center pole is made out of a heavy-duty aluminum. So it's lightweight. Very simple to assemble. Just basically have an elastic that allows it to only go together one way. Either works or it doesn't work. Now we come in here, you can lift up on the fabric, get inside. Okay, now we want to correspond the top of the pole with this little pocket, which you can see the web straps, that suspends the tent. And we just start coming up, slowly walking the stove up. You want to pretty much place the pole. Now we'll center it right into the center of the tent. And then we'll go outside and we'll tighten up our outside straps. As you can see, for a tent this size, that didn't take a whole lot of effort to put that up. So now we'll go on to the next step.